there are some big changes coming our way. So for those of you who don't know, Blizzard released patch notes earlier today detailing some buffs and nerfs coming our way. So let's start out with the general changes. Dealing damage to Torbjorn and Symmetra turrets no longer give you ultimate charge. This is definitely a buff to Symmetra and Torbjorn, albeit a pretty small buff, but it does help. Charging your ultimate off Torbjorn's turret always felt kinda cheap. The next change is a pretty big one. Ultimate costs for all heroes have been increased by 25%. That means heroes like Zarya are going to have even a harder time charging their ults, and you're going to have to make more informed decisions for when you use your ults. Overall, I do really like this change. I feel like ultimates in the game were too easily acquired, and pushing and defending objectives became about who could get their ultimates the fastest. So I'm really excited to see how this plays out. Now, keep in mind that these changes are not final, and will most likely be different from what we're seeing now. Next up, D.Va. D.Va got a pretty big buff. She received a buff to her survivability, so instead of having 500 health, she has a total of 600 health. And on top of that, she's able to move 25% faster while firing. Now this might not sound like much, but when you compare it to the live version, you can see just how much faster she's able to move while shooting. So the next person to receive a buff was Soldier. They increased his bullet damage from 17 to 20. Now this may not seem like much, but it's a pretty big change. This means that his critical hit damage will be increased, his ultimate damage will be increased, so it's just a straight up damage buff. And it hasn't been mentioned in the patch notes, Soldier's biotic field has gained an increased radius. I'm not sure by how much, but you can definitely notice it on the PTR. Next up is Mei. Mei received a 15% ult charge increase, and I'm not surprised, her ult did feel like it came up a little too fast. However, on top of the 25% ult charge increase that they've already implemented across all heroes, I'm wondering if this is going to be a little too much. Here you can see the difference between the live version and the PTR version on how fast her ult charges. On the live version, a headshot gives you about 15% ult charge. On the PTR, you get 11. But like I said before, we're not sure if these changes will stick, so we'll just have to wait and see. And for the next hero, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. Ana received a nerf to her Nana boost. It no longer grants a 50% speed boost. It's fair enough to say that Ana's Nana boost was pretty strong, but imagine boosting a Reinhardt without the speed boost. Same thing applies to Reaper, they're just not going to be able to reach their targets without being stopped somehow. And finally, Zarya has been nerfed. Zarya was definitely one of the tanks that could fit into any team comp, doesn't matter what it was. Her damage was really high and her ultimate was really useful. They've decreased the maximum amount of energy you can get per shield. Instead of being able to get a max of 50 energy from one shield, you can only get a max of 40. That means you're going to need 3 shields to get up to 100 energy. But overall, I don't think this is a really big change. I still think we're going to see a lot of Zarya, especially with the D.Va buffs going in. Zarya counters D.Va in every which way. There's no other hero that counters D.Va more than Zarya does. There was a slight nerf to Lucio, but nothing too major. I just think Blizzard's trying to move players away from picking Lucio and some other healer, which I think is a great change. And finally, they've given Torbjorn a buff. What they've done is, they've given his scrap mechanic a way to auto charge. This means before the match even starts, you should have enough scrap to give out 2 armor packs. And on top of that, they've buffed his hammer speed by 25%. So you can see the comparisons here of how long it takes you to build a turret on live and on PTR. And it's a pretty substantial difference. I'm hoping we'll be able to see more Torbjorn in competitive play, because right now he's almost non-existent. So that's it for competitive changes. There are more changes, they're just not listed in the patch notes. But let me know what you think about the changes. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree? I'm honestly surprised we haven't seen any Pharah buffs. Her ultimate is one of the weakest ults in the game, and I'm hoping somewhere along the way we'll see some Pharah buffs. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time.